talk about gardening. I
We
think.
should.
What do you got in mind? This is all about you, so I'll just follow.
Well,
I'm a
we got
natural follower.
some cool new stuff in, and I always like to do new introductions because sometimes you get it's like, oh, it's the same old plant. Here's a photinia.
Yeah,
How
right.
many times can you see a photinia? So we got some newer varieties of stuff in. I thought it'd be really cool to kind of showcase. One of the first ones is called Illyria, or
Illyria.
otherwise known as
Never heard
daisy bush.
Oh,
It's actually from Australia.
okay.
A lot of plants come out of Australia that work
You
well
don't say,
here.
mate. I'm trying to come up
No,
with my
don't do
Aussie
that.
accent. I don't have one.
You don't, thank heavens. You don't. But Illyria's is it's going to get about, I think it'll get a little bit bigger, probably 5x5, maybe 6. Kind of unproven
That high?
here, so we'll have to wait and see. It could make
Yeah.
a really great screen. It's actually an evergreen shrub that will produce flowers. So it blooms from late spring through summer, and
Yeah.
it produces kind of a cloud of white little daisy-like flowers.
Yeah.
So it actually looks really interesting, and I think it could be a great replacement maybe for all the photinia that's planted.
Oh yeah.
here.
Oh my gosh. 6 foot head high. It's a good screen.
Yeah.
Evergreen and blooms.
Right.
That's pretty much magic.
Uh-huh.
And from Australia, you know it's going to be drought hardy because that country is inventing the new water harvesting, water irrigation, plant drought hardy, xeriscape. They're creating this because they're desperate for water.
Right. So it has kind of, the foliage is kind of like a silvery cast to it. Very, very pretty. I'm excited to try one. I think we should put one in.
We've got a space right in front of the purple leaf plum or purple smoke bush.
Oh yeah.
Down the lower part of the landscape.
Sure. Yeah.
So, and then in front of that with the silver.
Ooh, yeah, I think that would be really pretty. So I thought we would definitely try one of those out there. Another new one that we got in is called Summertime Blues. It's a vitex or chase tree.
Yeah.
And this is a smaller one. So it's about 5 foot by 4 foot.
Okay.
So a little bit different size. The normal one gets about 10, 12 feet.
Yeah,
easily.
maybe taller. It's a big boy. It's overpowers a lot of landscapes.
Right.
So to have a smaller version would be perfect. I noticed the foliage was a little bit
different,
bigger.
isn't it? It's got
neat.
a wider leaf to
It's
it.
more
Actually,
elegant. Actually,
it does. So it looks. They're about ready to bloom. I'm anxious for them to bloom and see what they look like. But I think they'll be a really pretty addition.
Yeah, same
into
blue flower.
Some of those smaller yards.
It is? Yeah, good.
Yeah, definitely. And I'll show you what I brought.
This is where the folks tuned into the podcast or the vlog get to see the plant. We'll try to describe this for you on the air, the traditional terrestrial airwaves.
So this is a Tempo Rose geum.
Cool.
So most of the geums I'm used to seeing have that real orange or sometimes a real red flower to them. So this one is definitely more pink with touches of cream.
Here, I'll help the camera.
Just very, very pretty.
There you go. Can we see that? There we go.
I think it's
this
gorgeous.
is a perennial.
Yes.
So it comes back. You plant it once, comes back year after year. How tall does this thing get? Is it mature?
I know. I think it gets around 20 to 24 inches.
Gotcha.
With
Knee
the
high.
width. Yeah. Right. And it probably 15 to 18 inches wide. Likes a little bit shadier eastern exposure out in the yard. But just really pretty.
Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah. So that's the new geum that came in.
I'll give this back to you so I don't have to hold it. So I can hold the next one. I'll be your Vanna.
Okay, Vanna. So this one is Aromatico Blue Lavender. So very, very pretty. And it definitely is more blue than purple, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, definitely. I would call it lavender. But I'm a man. God only gave me 7 crayons. I don't have the 64 that he gave the gals listening tuned in.
Well, it definitely has more of a blue hue to it than a purple lavender.
Smells like lavender.
Smells like lavender. It's going to get same size as most of your lavenders, probably 2x2, somewhere in there. And lavenders are great animal resistant plants. Yeah. And they're great sun drought hardy plants. So when you have those hot spots in your yard where just nothing else really grows, a lavender will go in there nicely.
Prescott Frontier Rotary had a golf tournament out at Prescott Lakes. We raised a lot of good money for the cause, for the kids, schools and stuff. And they have some of these that are spectacular going into the clubhouses.
Oh,
they're 2 by probably three wide. They're magnificent.
Mm-hmm.
So bees are on them, pollinators, butterflies.
Great
hardy plant. Make sure it drains and it will grow.
So very, very pretty.
Smells like lavender. Every yard should have a lavender and a rosemary, I think. They're both so good.
So this is a Gara. So this is the Cupid's Arrow Gara. It stays smaller. So it's about 10 inches tall by maybe 12 to 18 inches wide.
Oh, neat. Okay.
So a shorter Gara. Most of your Garas tend to get a little bigger, send up those big fronds.
Yeah, they could be almost hip high. Mm-hmm. They're really big.
Yeah.
So
this one, great for fitting in those raised beds or smaller areas
containers
in the front. Right.
Yeah.
Right. In a container, be beautiful.
And perennial. So it'll come back year after year. And I'm sure this Gara is like all the others. Hummingbirds love Gara.
Yeah.
Does it have a common name, Gara? Is it just Gara? Such an unusual perennial.
But there's different varieties.
Yeah.
Gara. So this one's Cupid's Arrow.
Yeah.
Very cute name.
Well, I know you got a whole bunch more down there, but I think
are we out of time?
10 minutes. So Ken and Lisa Lain and the Mountain Gardeners.